everyone, my name is Debbie. Let's start this video with the agenda. First, I will provide you with some background information about the lesson. Then I will go through my rationale for designing this activity. Then I will show you how I created this activity as well as how students will interact with it. Last, I will provide you with some options for modifications as well as some resources. Here's the background information. This is a kindergarten ELA week 23 reading lesson. This is lesson 12. If you are looking for this in Into Reading, look for module 6, week 3, lesson 12. The technology I'll be using today is Nearpod and PowerPoint. You do need some knowledge of how to use Nearpod. However, at the end of the video, I will provide you with a link to some tutorials. As for my rationale behind this lesson, students, especially students with disabilities, need support in reading comprehension. And one way to support them is to preview vocabulary. In order to help students retain the vocabulary words that they are learning, it helps to have them make connections to words they already know. It is also important to allow them time to practice using the word and for them to get immediate feedback. So if they're not using it correctly, they need to know right away. In this activity, I will also engage students in learning words. To begin creating this Nearpod activity, I started by looking at the vocabulary cards from Into Reading. I pulled the images as well as the meaning and the description of the images and put them into this PowerPoint. Now I will go to my Nearpod activity here and upload the PowerPoint directly. As you can see, all of the slides are uploaded individually here. And now I can make some more adjustments. For example, I can add a slide in the very beginning to introduce what this Nearpod activity will be about. We'll search for images directly from Google, type in vocabulary clip art, and I can pick any of these that I want for my title slide. I'm going to pick this one. Now that the image has been uploaded, I can adjust the size of the image. I can also record myself reading this slide and any other slides to support students who are stronger with their auditory processing, as well as students who are not quite reading on this grade level yet. So now I have my title slide, but before even teaching the vocabulary, it's important to go over some words that students are familiar with but might need a reminder, because in some of the definitions, these words will pop up. So I'm thinking of the word true as well as the word rule. So most kindergartners will know the word true as well as the word rule, but they might need a reminder on what those words mean. So before going over the new vocabulary words, I'm going to review the words that they might already know. And we can do this by doing some interactive activities. So you would go to Add Slide, Activities. I'm going to use a fill in the blank activity to help students remember the word rule. I have 1, be kind to each other, 2, raise your hand to speak, 3, keep the classroom clean. After you do this, click Next, and you can remove the words you want to have students pick. So I'm going to remove rules, kind, raise, and clean. And students will do this activity to help them review the word rule. So I also wanted to review the word true. Although students are probably familiar with this word, mostly because we do true or false questions, it is a challenging word. It is a challenging concept because it is not concrete. So this will be a good chance to review it. And we're going to do this by doing another activity. For this one, I'm going to choose matching pairs. So you can use this to review different things that they have learned already. As you can see, I have 6 pairs here, 3 true responses and 3 false responses. You can use this activity as a way to review other content areas such as math, social studies, or science. If your students are still struggling with days of the week or months, you can also include some true or false questions there. Most importantly, keep it fun. I included one about SpongeBob here. SpongeBob lives under a rock, and the answer is false. So think of your students' interests to try to engage them prior to even learning the new vocabulary. So now that we have reviewed the word true and the word rule, we can go into teaching students the vocabulary words. So the great thing about Nearpod is that you can record over each slide. This way, students who might have missed the lesson can do it asynchronously. All you would have to do is click audio, click recorder, and simply record yourself reading the slide. Believe, verb, meaning. When you believe something, you think it is true. Take a look at the image. I believe people should be nice to each other. Then you click save, and this audio clip will be part of the slide. So students will be able to listen to you reading it to them. This is helpful for students because some of the text is not quite on kindergarten level. So you will go through the 3 words and teach them. Now we'll give students a chance to practice the vocabulary words. After the slide where you teach the students the word, you're going to give them a chance to use the word in a sentence. So we're going to click add slide, and for this slide we're going to use the open-ended question. Students will fill in the blank, I believe blank, and to help support them in this activity, you can add the image of the slide. And I will show you how to do that right now. In your PowerPoint, you're going to click File, Save As, and wherever you save it, you're going to change the Save As type to JPEG. And now it will save all of the slides as image files. So let's take a look here. Once I open this up, every slide will be its own image, which we will use for this part of the Nearpod. Click image, I will simply upload the slide for Believe. This way, when students are working on this, they can still refer back to the slide. And a great option here is to enable student audio recordings. So rather than typing their answer in, they can simply record themselves saying it. It is important to give students many different ways of expressing their responses. So instead of doing that again, you can simply copy the slide and do the same thing for the word law and the same thing for the word refuse. Once you have copy and pasted those slides, simply change out the sentence frame and change out the image and click save. Repeat this for the last slide, which is for the word refuse, and again, save. Then you can decide how you want to wrap up this vocabulary activity. My suggestion is to use this activity called Time to Climb. It is an interactive, competitive quiz. Students will get points for getting the correct answer and for answering the question quickly. The students with the most points will reach the top of the mountain and win this competition. If your students do not like competitive activities, you can try a different activity such as Flipgrid here, and perhaps you can have students choose one of the vocabulary words and act it out. I already provided some options for modifications as I explained how I created this activity. Here are some other options. You might change the images of the vocabulary words to reflect examples that students are more familiar with. Not all students ride in cars often. So for the word law, you could change the image to someone waiting to cross the street. You can also add additional ways for students to express themselves, such as drawing an image related to the word, rather than writing a sentence or recording themselves saying the sentence. And for some resources here is a link for the Nearpod tutorials. You can also just go on YouTube and search Nearpod tutorials. I also included an editable Nearpod link for this activity. Once you click on it, you will have the option to add it to your library and make any edits that you want for your students. Now let's review what we learned in this video. Students learned to pronounce and use the words believe, law, and refuse. In terms of supports, we worked on helping students make connections to words they already know. We provided visual supports, and we allowed students multiple ways of demonstrating their knowledge. As for technology, we used Nearpod to offer more interactive and engaging ways to learn the vocabulary words. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching.